And welcome back to another video. This is a paid request from Nicholas. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, random thought streams, commentaries, reviews, re-reviews on movies, in this case comic book, a tier list or ranking, again, video game playthrough, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it. PayPal's the best way to do it. Do it by CashApp as well. Links are down below in info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. For those who sent them, thank you. I do appreciate your patience and your generosity. Now, Nicholas was nice to send in a request for technically 11 comic books. But what I will do is, one is for Amazing Fantasy number 15, which is the first appearance of Spider-Man. Since that's so important, I figured I'd make that its own video. The next video I do on this will be about the first 10 Amazing Spider-Man comics. I don't know if I'll be able to do it this way, showing it, because it's 10 of them. It's a lot to show in that time. That may be just more of a verbal, like just me at the camera review. But I figured this one at the very least could do that, so I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I guess maybe I could just flip around and stuff. We'll see how it goes. I may change my mind on that. We'll see. But yeah, Amazing Fantasy number 15, the introduction of Peter Parker of Spider-Man, very famous. And it's interesting when you look at the issue, there's other stories in it. It's just, this is the one, of course, people remember. And you just, I think what it is just the idea. I mean, first off, the look of Spider-Man. The look of Spider-Man is such a unique look that's very striking. The color scheme, the pattern with the webs, it's mysterious. And I mean, I think the webs under the armpits worked fine in comic book form. I don't think they would work in a live action movie form. And it works for these dynamic poses here. Do I say I need those kinds with the web under? No. I wonder what, I mean, I guess maybe they're there for aerodynamics or maybe to help glide or something, and what the purpose of it is. But when eventually they were gone, and there's a lot, it depends on the artist whether they put it in or not. It's not something I would miss, if that makes sense. But yeah, Spider-Man was the comics I read back in the day. I wasn't an expert in comic book, the comic book field. The few comics I read back in the day, it was Spider-Man first. Then eventually a couple Punishers, Ninja Turtles, the Mirage, then an Image, and a few Archies, Ninja Turtle-wise. I have the Preacher comics up there. Most of them I have. Pretty much the whole collection of Preacher, which I love that story. And then I have a few, like, a few with Superman, the death and return of Superman. A few offshoots, like Superman when he met the Xenomorphs, the aliens. I think I had a Batman vs. Predator comic. Some offshoots here and there. But where I lived, it was just so far away for comic books. I remember once in a blue moon, my mom would take me and my brother to, I believe it was Mason City, and they had a comic book shop, and it's like, ooh, wow, it was just very, very rare occurrence. It's, oh wow, so that's why I would get like I think most of the Ninja Turtle comics I got was from those trips. And once in a while they may have like a Spider-Man comic or such in a store nearer us. Maybe the more popular ones at that time. There was a store I went to called On Q, which was a regional thing that sometimes would have stuff like that, but not too often. But if there was, at those places, it'd be Spider-Man. When I got to the Mason City, the place far away, it'd be Ninja Turtles. And again, the appeal of just the regular guy, in this case the nerdy guy, who's picked on, who's pushed around, and you could relate to, or you could feel sorry for, because even these early issues he has problems with not being popular, that people don't really see him in the best of light. He's looked at as the bookworm, and then kind of that wish fulfillment, fantasy fulfillment. Uh, what if you have the ability to be powerful and you could do all these assortment things? And then the catch-22, as it says at the end here, with great power comes great responsibility, which is not said by Uncle Ben. Some people, even I, forgot Uncle Ben did not say it in this comic. Uncle Ben did not say it. The comic book panel said it, but not Uncle Ben. Now, I do like the addition of Uncle Ben saying it. I'm trying to remember who did it first. It might have been maybe the 90s cartoon did it first. I know Sam Raimi's film did it, but the 90s cartoon was before. That might have done. I can't remember who did it first. Unless they did like a retcon later on, and oh yeah, he did say in the comics. I don't know. I love to one day. I mean, they're so expensive though. Like those big omnibus that has like all tons of Spider-Man comics, but they're so damn expensive. But there's a place online here that you can read the comics, and that's what I'm using here. It's interesting to see how they wrote differently back in the day and the vernacular. Like, for example, that bookworm wouldn't know a cha-cha from a waltz, because all kids... Think of a kid nowadays that would use the words cha-cha or waltz. They'd be like, what the fuck? Yeah, I do like the silhouette, the shadow of what's to come. Then we entered the introduction of Uncle Ben, introduction of Aunt May, and wheat cakes, because I never had wheat cakes. Wheat cakes honestly sound disgusting. Don't make him a fat ass, dear. I can't wrestle him anymore. Peter, do you like gladiators? He's good at school, the women don't like him, the jocks are dickheads. Like Flash Thompson. So we're introduced to Flash Thompson. And then to I like the radioactivity. Now, I would think that'd be spelled with one word and not need a dash in it, but I guess to really make it apparent, it's radioactivity. And as it says here, we got the atomic science, demonstration, radioactive rays, we got the spider, the classic story, Gambit, and almost immediately finding his powers. Now, of course, in other stories, there'd be a bit of time in between him feeling the effects, going home, sleeping, realizing what's going on, finding it, what the hell's going on, slowly but surely. But it's a comic book. There are other stories within this comic, so we gotta go a little bit faster. So maybe it doesn't take as much time to let it sink in. So it's like the next panel, what the hell? And then he's able to leap. I love that the first impression of a guy leaping so crazy is that one egghead who won't daydream anymore across the street. You just say that again. Yeah, we almost killed him. We could have run him over and he leaped so insane and crazy, but yeah. And this kid probably got a spanking from his mom. Last horror movie you look. Hey mom, don't pick on the kid too much. Let him go to horror movies. So we gotta find out quickly that he can steal walls, that he's super strong. And we gotta really show to the viewer on what this guy can do in a short amount of time. And Crusher Hogan. Now this is before Hulk Hogan and other stuff, so interesting, his name would be Crusher Hogan. Of course, in the Sam Raimi movie, it was Bonesaw, Macho Man Randy Savage. Wonder why they changed it. Maybe Crusher Hogan, they thought, well, that'd be ironic, Randy Savage playing a character named Hogan. That'd be the true irony, but it's like, well, we got Randy Savage, maybe we don't call him Crusher Hogan. Able to steal the shot of him and win. And hey, get rich and famous. Interesting that he's able to make this costume right from the get-go, like without much trouble. Same thing, like right from the get-go, able to make these web shooters that nobody on Earth seems to be able to ever have done, able to convey. And that's kind of the thing you gotta go along with it because it's a comic book. That he's such a smart guy that he's able. So that kind of defeats the whole he's a regular guy, he's a regular schmo. Just not every regular schmo is going to be able to figure out these insane web shooters. And that's part of Spider-Man is that he's smart and he's intelligent. So that's the thing. If you want to make him the everyman, do you want to take that away if you do another interpretation of Spider-Man? Or do you want to keep him smart like this because that's part of his character from this first issue? So I guess it's up to the individual how they feel about that. On one hand, because he's so smart, he's able to create some crafty ways to defeat the bad guys. But to be honest, when they introduced the Sam Raimi Spider-Man that it's organic, I actually did not mind that idea. Some people didn't like it. You know, the web shooters are cool, but I like the idea that he could do that. And of course, they poked fun at that in the No Way Home movie. Awful fucking movie, but I didn't mind that moment. And showing what can do. Him getting famous, being on TV, making money. Now, obviously, this is different. I mean, from what they would do later on. Like in the movie, it was the guy cheating him out of money. And it's like, it's not my problem, fine, fuck you. So I guess maybe in a way that made it seem a bit more of a justification as to understand, okay, this is why he let the guy go. Here is literally, I'm tired of people telling me what to do. You know, I'm through being pushed around, as it says here. Which, I mean, there are people that would feel that way. Maybe nowadays people think, man, Spider-Man is a jerk. But then no one would know what to expect. And he says here, I'll see to that they're always happy, but the rest of the world could go hang for all I care. Which seems a bit rough for him to say, but for a guy that's been picked on his whole life, that people ostracize him, people push him away, the only two people who care for him is these two, his parents are gone, and you're a younger kid, those thoughts do filter into your brain until, you know, you get humbled in one way or another. So it's interesting that he's getting success here. Although it makes me wonder how he gets paid here, because later on, might be the Amazing Spider-Man 1. There's a bit where he's supposed to get his money and they go, here's a check. And he can't cash it because he can't show ID. But then my question is, well, how is he getting money during this time? He had to be getting money here. Ask for cash. But you see, like, it's a selfish endeavor, and then this is what happens. Uncle Ben, he's pissed off. I'm surprised he was able to make this costume from the get-go. Like, I don't know how to make a costume, do you? See, I think in a comic nowadays, there'd be much more things expanded. Him going through other designs of the costume. Him making mistakes making the costume. Him learning more about his powers. But they only had a certain amount of time. And I'm sure they probably thought this would be just a one shoot. You know? We try it out, we see what happens. If people don't take, we move on. That's why it's part of an Amazing Fantasy, not Spider-Man #1. Of course, the class, you get the robber. Look, Spider-Man actually punches, which Tom Holland Spider-Man, you don't really see him do. You know, punch someone. And then the classic. It's interesting, like you look at the other mask, you just see white, but this one shot you have the holes in the eyes right here. I just, because they really wanted to convey the emotion. So, whereas that consistent, because other places there's no dots in these eyes, but you know, it is what it is. And so when he walks away here, if this was never. Be sure to see the next issue of Amazing Fantasy for the further amazing exploits of America's most different new teenage idol, Spider-Man. So they said the next issue of Amazing Fantasy, but I guess they saw so much of a buzz, so much of a fervor. They're like, well, fuck putting this another Amazing Fantasy. Let's have another Amazing Spider-Man. So they probably kept the Amazing because Amazing Fantasy have that link together. They thought maybe once in a while, maybe to pop up an Amazing Fantasy. And this is where, with great power, there must also come great responsibility. Again, not said by Uncle Ben. And you see, like, there was a lot more to this. Well, actually, this doesn't show it. But there was a lot more to this issue than this. There were other stories. Now, this one, it just shows the Spider-Man portion. But I think like there was one where like a guy is running and there's a mummy and he's a crook and oh my god, it's a mummy and I will hide you. Oh no, trust me, you will have air, and hides him in the sarcophagus. And then when the sarcophagus opens, it disappears, and the guy was transported back to Egypt and he was a slave building the pyramids. Then there's another one like a guy rang a bell. He always rings the bell. And there's even a point where the whole village is on fire and everyone's leaving, but he still don't ring his bell. And then someone's going to listen, and then I guess God picks him up in a light. And people are like, no, that couldn't have happened, but yes, someone did listen and took him away. So there's other story. I mean, that's, you know, different varieties in Amazing Fantasy, but I think just the design of Spider-Man, you know, Peter Parker, this puny guy that I guess some people could relate to, especially at the time period, and just the story. It's an interesting story. You know, the tragic end to it, the lesson we can all take. You know, not action-packed, but you see him get to do a little bit of thing here and there. Start small. Don't save the world from the get-go, because once you do, where do you go from then? And then there you go from there. Because the next video is, there's Amazing Spider-Man #1. It goes through all that, and many other Amazing Spider-Mans. Then he wanted me to look at the first 10. Not sure why this one has Amazing Spider-Man #1 attached to it. But okay, it's interesting. But with that said, I mean, the artwork is nice. I mean, this is obviously, you tell by the stronger color scheme, this is like a reprint. But, you know, nice designs of the characters, like how bulky this guy is. It's like he definitely took steroids. But yeah, just great design on the costume. I think really just, it's the costume, interesting different type of powers, and just the story, the setup. You know, what if you were a kid that got bit and you want fame and fortune and want to be noticed and take care of your loved ones? Simple mistake, you know, misjudgment. tragedy. And then you see throughout how he just has the piss poor luck, the laws against him, the newspapers out for him. He can't even get with the Fantastic Four. People judge him without knowing him. He always has the worst of luck, and in a way that kind of makes him a bit more endearing to the viewer, to the reader, I should say. And then later on, you see that he builds this witty banter and able to fuck with people verbally, and that becomes a part of his character. Then the villain roster, where you get, Sandman and Green Goblin and all these interesting villains, colorful villains. A lot of them to begin with, some type of animals, or a vulture, or the lizard, or anything of that sort. So definitely a cool beginning. Definitely a classic beginning where it all started. Very nice stuff. So thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.